So I decided to go ahead and attempt this 4-mile walk that I do, and I was cruising along. Everything was going fine. I was going to make it easy. I wasn't going very fast. I don't walk that fast anyway. But it isn't like I'm looking like I'm walking around the track at Century Village. So about 2.5 miles into it, and I kind of know all the measuring points, right? Because you're thinking, okay, geez, I got like another 1.6 miles to go. Now it's 1.5. I measured this out in my car with my archaic methods. I don't wear one of those watches or anything. I don't need to know my sperm count while I'm working out. I just don't need to know that. Oh, what was that? Lubie 0.0. Yeah.
I was going to say, you still have it confused.
Big, fat, round number. You can draw that right there on the board. What chance do you have here of agreeing with Ron DeSantis on his gun?
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Very pleasant. Good morning, everybody. Great to be with you here on the Defo Show on South Florida Live, our new venture. And I would have to say, highly successful after day number one. I believe we doubled our subscribership in one day, Mike Lubie. Now, it's not exactly quantum physics here. I think we went from like 30 to 60 subscribers, but it's a start, right?
Yes.
We haven't even put the word out yet. It's kind of, I don't know, would you say it's a soft opening? It's a little soft. I mean, we'd like to see thousands.
For me, but for you, I guess.
But we're committed. We're committed, and we're ready to go. And it's nice to be on our own. So you guys keep telling your friends about it. I don't know. I get into all kinds of complications when I try to communicate the link to people, which I've now been asked by another half a dozen people how they find us. So you'll have to explain it to me in very simple terms, Mike Lubitz, because it involves like sending a link, and I put that up on my
link. It's South Florida Live. Eventually, you'll be able to just look up South Florida Live, and we'll pop up. We just need to keep creating content. That's sort of how the Google/algorithm world works. But if you have their number, you can just text them the link. All you have to do is click on the link, click subscribe, and you'll get everything we do.
All right. Text me the link exclusively once again. I'll send that out to virtually everybody. Good to be with you. And so many things on the ticket today, as we'll take up until 9 o'clock Eastern time here on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest and Mike Lubitz. We had lengthy discussions yesterday. And, it's just Jekyll and Hyde City, or so it seems, in this basketball series, the NBA championship round, Golden State and Boston. Golden State now manages to rattle off a second consecutive victory. First time the Celtics have gone down after being defeated in successive games. They had been 7-0 and rebounding in that spot. And, I mean, just Brick City. I couldn't watch it. I started binge watching again, Deadliest Catch, the beginning of the ball game. I'd rather see these guys catching crabs in 40-foot cities.
Literally, actual crabs.
It amazes me that people could work under those conditions. I don't care if they're making more money than Phil Mickelson out there, which that's a whole nother story that we have to get into today also. Phil facing the music again from another press conference. And I would think it would be like Donnie Trump finally sitting down in front of – no, he wasn't adversarial. That's a terrible comparison. If Donald Trump decided, hey, you know what, I'm tired of all this BS that these guys are spreading about me, at least that's in his opinion, in the January 6th Capitol hearings that are now being televised, which, how anybody could vote for this man again under the circumstances, unless you firmly believe that everything is a hoax, that all news is fake news, including news you see with your very own eyeballs. It's kind of like John Sterling calling a game, isn't it? Where that Capitol building, I didn't see nothing going on there. It looked like a normal tourist day. There are people that live in this fantasy world, but the Mickelson press conference yesterday was kind of interesting. And he faced the music, to his credit. He stood there and looked like a disheveled semblance of his former self with about $200 million in his pocket and another $150 that he pocketed from just finishing like 20 shots off the pace set by the legendary Charles Schwartzel, whose last win came in 1956 when he beat Dow Finsterwall in Shell's Wonderful World of Golf. Now this guy's getting $5 million for winning a tournament, while poor Rory McIlroy is grinding it out against the best in the world to pick up not bad. I mean, look, how can you complain if you're making like $2 million for a weekend of playing golf? That's nice money if you can make it.
Yes.
But as compared to $5, is there always going to be a certain amount of jealousy? I mean, you'd walk around a radio station And you would run into other talents, and you're standing in the elevator with a guy like Castronova, and you realize while you're grinding out like $1.50, this guy's making $800,000 a year, and he's playing songs.
Yeah.
And you're thinking there's a little bit of a disparity there. I guess it all depends on how much money the show is making, but. But you don't want to find out on your job, right, that the guy that's sitting next to you is making twice as much money, do you? I mean, that usually doesn't sit well with people. Very few people find out, what, Joe's making 300 grand?
Good for him.
And you're making 80? That's great, Joe. I tell you what, I'm only worth 80 compared to you. You do nothing all day, Joe, except go to lunch and drink martinis while I'm in there grinding it out. I mean, we see it in all venues and all aspects of life where you don't want to feel like you're being cheated on the cash machine, on the old ATM roll at the end of the week. And Phil certainly isn't being cheated in that category. And you know what? I don't know. If he just stayed on a PGA tour and continued to do endorsements and didn't have any jackpots and wasn't saying things about the Saudis and shedding a favorable light on whatever it is that they were involved in, including, in almost everybody's opinion, there's some involvement in 9/11 in terms of funding and, I don't know, coincidence? 15 of the 19 guys that were involved were Saudi Arabian? What do you think? In the 9/11 attacks?
I mean,
coincidence or not, Lubie?
Not really. It was not a coincidence at all.
I don't mean to be smiling about it because it's one of the most horrific things that happened in the history, certainly this country. And
Yep.
Ranks up there with any of the horror shows that have happened in what has become a very, very different world, my friends. I remember 50 years ago, we thought we had it all figured out. We really did. It was a hippy-dippy era. It was smile on your brother. Everybody tried to get together and love one another right now, right? And that concept's flown the coop a long time ago. In fact, you're almost afraid. It's gotten to the point, and I used to like to talk to everybody, but you're afraid to say anything to anybody anymore, huh? I mean, you even make just a comment like, hey, your hair looks good today. And what? What are you talking about? I don't know. I keep to myself, even, and almost all times. I don't even want to answer people's questions.
Oh, what do you mean? Because of, and it's something I'm opening my eyes to, because again, I'm open-minded, but I actually feel weird saying yes, sir, yes, ma'am now because of how people have their pronouns and how people see themselves. I wasn't even raised with that. I'm Jewish, but I always, growing up, watched my friends say yes, sir, and yes, ma'am, and I thought that was very polite.
Yeah, it's a Mickey Mantle thing. It really is.
As I got older, I did it all the time, and it wasn't, to show age. I would do it to people my age or younger just to be polite. But now I feel bad doing it. I'm like, oh my God, are they a ma'am? And I'm saying sir, they are sir. So what am I doing it wrong?
It's insane. I mean, look, it affected our industry and impacted it greatly, although you're seeing a little bit less of it of late. And maybe the liberalization that's taken place in terms of what you can and cannot say because of the fact that everybody's using internet streaming now as opposed to mainstream stuff. But, I mean, some of the atrocities that took place in terms of guys losing their careers, their reputation, and their spirit for life because they got canned from a job for saying that, hey, if I go down to Mexico, I want to grab a taco. And you're like, what? Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? The disparaging remarks about the Mexican people? This is a disgrace. The guy should be shot at dawn, while standing in front of a church in Mexico City. Get out of here. But, and that was very restrictive, and you had to be conscious of it. But I don't know that you can be super sensitive, as they say, politically correct about everything.
Everything now.
And it's almost impossible. Somebody can misconstrue almost anything you say, and it's unfortunate. But in just general conversation, that shouldn't be the case, right? When you're talking to your friends, should you really have to worry that you're saying something that overwhelmingly offended them? Because I remember I was at the beach. I wasn't even talking to this person. And I said, hey, you got to be crazy if you don't get the vaccine, which is my opinion, right? And I'm thinking, I want all the vaccine I can soak up. I mean, give me 8 doses if I have to have it.
I agree.
I'm fine with that, right? I mean, I haven't been sick a day really and since COVID came out. It was, I mean, for me, it was actually sort of favorable, unfortunately. A lot of people negatively impacted by it. A lot of people cashed in on the thing. But I would have to say, in general, it probably put 5 years back on my life not having to schlep to work every day.
Yeah, and you've
been
getting
fired. Would have precluded that.
But you've been doing the walk every day, and you've been, a lot healthier in your living since. sort of gotten
haven't had a cold in like 2 years.
I haven't got sick at all. Like that's what's.
Yeah.
I understand COVID's real, but that's what I'm saying. Like I've kept my distance and I wear a mask when I'm like in a store, so it has to do something. But yes, I presume you're going somewhere with your story because you said something, someone heard you. God forbid.
Yeah, I said something about it. I wasn't even talking to. I didn't even know that they could hear me, right? And the next thing you know, they were like they got up and left the beach, and and I'm thinking, well, that was weird. Why did so and so leave? And the word was because you said that anybody that doesn't get the COVID shot is out of their mind. This was when they first came out.
Okay.
And you were thinking, well, I mean, people were dropping dead as a matter of routine. You were watching them stack bodies outside in a freezer in New York City because they didn't have room in the morgues anymore.
Yes.
And you're thinking they have something that might be able to prevent this. I don't know. It's worth a shot here. A shot, literally. And, I mean, I do believe that it was because I think the people that have checked out since or had really severe catastrophic results from COVID-19 were mostly people that didn't have any of the vaccinations that were given out for free by the government. It wasn't like you had to pay like $200 to go get a shot. It was just walk into any drugstore or Publix and supermarket, and boom, there it is. So I don't know. It's just kind of weird.
Both sides, like everyone out there is sensitive about everything right now.
Yeah. It's crazy, right?
That goes against you, you're sensitive. It's like, okay.
And it was a political thing also, which was really stupid.
Which it wasn't political. It was
science. I mean, Republicans weren't dying from COVID-19, so they felt like the whole... And it was their guy, Trump, that was most adamant. I mean, if he did one thing in a positive way, he was saying that, hey, no matter what we do, we have to get some kind of vaccine for this thing. I don't know that I ever want to give Trump credit for anything. How about this $250 million stash that he had?
I love that.
That is great, right? And some of that money, $60,000 to have Donnie Jr.'s girlfriend or fiance. Did he marry this woman? This Guilfoyle, who has the same name, oddly, as the young girl that was kind of the center of the whole Jeffrey Epstein investigation. I guess a slight differential, but I always see the one with the other. But anyway, she got like $60,000 to introduce Donald Trump at that rally where he decided, hey, you know what we should do, people? Don't go home quietly to your families there and eat a TV dinner and watch, the news. Let's storm the Capitol building. But he had nothing to do with it.
As the sitting president. That's the problem. That's
amazing. This is what the world has become. So I don't know. I'm glad that we can escape into the sports world.
We're here.
Just stick our head in the sand here and worry about whether Steph Curry is ice cold because he was 0 for 9 on three-pointers. By the way, that prop bet that we mentioned yesterday, you were right, Lubie. You went with the over on Klay Thompson. 3.5 made three-pointers. He made 5 in the game, Klay Thompson.
He was off early.
Yeah.
It wasn't looking good for a while.
I didn't realize that until I later on in the evening caught up with it on SportsCenter because I'm struggling to watch this NBA brand of basketball. I mean, I know the Heat were in it, so it was a local angle, and people have passion for the local teams. And I've been the biggest basketball fan my entire. I love basketball, every aspect of it. I mean, the smell of the ball, anything. The schwitz that you develop. I really just enjoyed the game all the way through. When I was able to play it, I had a lot of fun doing that. Never could. I literally, Lubie, if I drove by a park and there was a ball up in the air, I would stop and see if I could get into a game. That's how much I was into the game of basketball. And it's literally, I know it sounds like an old geezer opinion, but it's pretty tough to watch. I mean, you're looking at teams that were like 5 for 35 from three-point range. You just keep chucking bombs up and doing nothing.
Yep.
What is that? I mean, it's not exciting. It's getting like baseball. The Marlins put a shift on last night against Schwarber, who obviously is a dead pull hitter and is in there just to jack home runs. And, I mean, they didn't even have a guy. Miggy was just past the left side of second base. Just over on the other side. And I believe he was the only guy on that side of the field. It really looked like one of those games where you find a ballpark somewhere and you only have 4 guys, so you decide to play home run derby. And, all 3 guys that are fielding are on the same side of the field. Right field.
I don't understand how you don't just do a bunt, even if you've never bunted in your life. Like, just do something.
Guy throws a changeup. I mean, just slap the ball. And literally, there's a guy like on third base with the potential tying run. And this guy is going to hit into that shift. You have to be kidding me. He ended up striking out.
course.
Schwarber against Sandy Alcantara, who's been dynamite this year. And again, although I do think Donnie Baseball left him in there 1 inning too long. He had pitched 7 brilliant innings. He's been going the distance in games. I believe he went 9 recently, and almost every start that he's made, he's gone 7 innings of high quality. Not just they call a 6-inning 3-run start, and that's known as a quality start. Which I don't know, is that great? You're giving up a run every other inning. I guess it's okay.
It's okay now.
Standards parameter is certainly low for considering everybody strikes out and nobody gets on base and nobody even goes for a base hit. How basic though is this? I mean, literally, a shortstop is behind second base, just to the left of second base. Everybody else, I didn't even see a left fielder. I don't even know if they had a guy in left field. And Schwarber, I mean, you can't tap one the other way to score a run. It's almost impossible to think that you would allow a pitcher to either strike you out or force you to hit into this ridiculous shift. And once again, my position on it, I think, should be, basically a baseball essential. How can you dictate how a team wants to defend somebody? You can't tell them, oh, no, you can't have 4 guys over here on this side of the infield. I mean, if the hitter's going to be dumb enough not to take advantage of it or incapable of taking advantage of it, then literally, I mean, if you hit the ball to the left side, any grounder to the left side, he could have run all day. He might have had an inside the park home run, Schwarber on this. And instead, trying to juice one out of the park, even though there's a guy, I think there was a guy on third with 2 away. Might have been. I don't know. I mean, they ended up, not getting a run in that situation. And then the Phillies, unfortunately for the Marlins, as soon as they brought in a reliever, Mattingly let Alcantara pitch the 8th inning. He walked the first guy and then ended up with guys on first and second. He got the double play grounder he needed. And then they lifted him, and they brought in this lefty who ended up losing the ball game. I don't know if he lost the game, but he gave up a run, and then they gave up a subsequent run in the ninth. If it wasn't for these 1-run losses, which had kind of dissipated, the Marlins would actually be having a decent season this year. Now, here's the thing, and this is how low our expectations are. They're having a decent season by their normal standard, are they not? Because they're like 4 or 5 games, might be 4 games under 500. And they've been playing well of late, but really had nothing there last night. I did say this, and I got out there on the tennis court last night against Dr. Jerry.
Nice.
Played very poorly. I was off a month layoff, and not sure if I could move around because of this newly injected knee that I've been favoring a little bit. Now, that's been feeling a lot better, Lubie. This wasn't cortisone that kicks in right away. This is some kind of lubricant gel scientific advancement that even a guy that has a leg like Monty Stratton can feel comfortable. I'm glad you know now what the Monty Stratton story was all about.
I'm well aware of it.
Probably one of the greatest movies ever to be featured on Rain Out Theater. The Monty Stratton story with Jimmy Stewart. And Stewart must have made what? Did he make like a couple of 100 movies? Because he was in all of them. Any Rain Out Theater movie was Jimmy Stewart. He was an incarcerated guy that invented the carbine, shotgun. He was, Monty Stratton and many other people. Jimmy Stewart. And it was always the same guy, right? I mean, essentially it was the same guy in a variety of different roles.
Oh, yeah. Actually, but that was great about Jimmy Stewart. And like, he was just him.
Yeah.
In every movie.
It wouldn't matter what he was playing, right? I mean, it's the same. Be like trying to picture Jack Webb in a role other than Joe Friday. You just can't do it. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-a. All right, so what did you make of this game last night? Turnovers, I mean, that's going to be the word that's mentioned most often with the Boston Celtics. They were horrible early in the game. It was, just a series of bricks. It drove me away from the game. It wasn't that interesting.
Well, when the Warriors cash in, you're not wrong. It's like a lot of time we say these things after, and people are like, oh, you're just being Monday morning quarterback. No, like you can watch the game going, yeah, this is like.
It was dreadful. It really was.
I grew up, it's not like you're not going to shoot threes. Fine. Even in my era where people were shooting threes. But the phrase live and die by the three is something that was taught to me from an early age. Like, you shoot a three if you have it. But either if you're covered or if it's not falling, stop shooting it. These guys don't give a damn. We're going to shoot it. And it's like, you guys, you're 5 for 20. Like, go to the basket. Try and do something.
They're just lobbing these shots up there without conviction. Andrew Wiggins kind of came to the rescue of the Golden State Warriors last night, and the shooting percentage of Jason Tatum in the fourth quarter of these games has been despicable. Just horrendous. I mean, you're talking about a guy that actually had a pretty good ball game yesterday, although he started out flat as a Parisian runway model. I mean, it was awful in the early stages of that game. And so were the Boston Celtics. They were down like 22-8 with, I think, 3 minutes or so in the first quarter, 22-8. And essentially, that was a ball game. They did get back into it. They actually took a lead.
They got a lead.
And yet, they still had to work their way out of that carnage that occurred in the first quarter when they could not hit anything, nothing. And they were jacking up three-pointers, really getting no great rhythm on their possession. But they would end up, with a fairly clean shot by a variety of different people from three-point range and couldn't make a single one. I mean, just brick after brick after brick after brick. This Udoka, I mean, had to be ready to just hit himself in the head with a brick and see if he could draw blood. Like Dusty Rhodes popping a capsule there when he was in a chokehold by some villainous wrestler from the Midwest. It was kind of boring, and the 3-point shooting percentage for Golden State was nothing to sit there and beat your chest about, because Steph Curry going 0 for 9 doesn't really excite the crowd. And he looks like all of the things that you thought, my God, when he was coming out of Davidson there, that they were saying about him, that he could be pushed around there, and if he's going to have to force up shots from 40 feet, that he's really not going to amount to much as a pro, which couldn't be any further from the truth. I mean, the guy turned out to be a great player, and one of the. I mean, was he maybe the best? What was he, the 7th or 8th pick that year in the draft?
He was behind 2 other guards, Ricky Rubio and Johnny Flynn. Rubio at least had a nice
Johnny Flynn from Syracuse. Wow. What a whiff job that was. Who made that call? Do they still have a job in sports?
Remember the T-Wolves took both Ricky Rubio and like Johnny Flynn. Like they both, I think they took 2 guards, and neither was Steph Curry.
Imagine it, the Minnesota Timberwolves whiffing on Steph Curry. What would have happened? Now he couldn't possibly have wanted to stay in Minnesota because, look, unless you're into frostbite, that is not a great place to be. We discovered that. We try to have a good time. We're always very busy when we were doing those Radio Row deals, and we try to take in a little bit of a taste of the city. It's not always easy to do, right? Because you're running around like a maniac. We were doing, like 20 interviews a day. And by the time we got out of there and schlepped to the hotel, you were thinking, let's grab something to eat. And we're right back at it, especially like West Coast time, where, or any time change. I mean, doing this an hour earlier in the morning when we started at 6, Lubie, put us in, a very uncomfortable and undesirable position in terms of, getting a decent night's sleep before you go back to work the next day and do more of the same. But Minnesota, wow, I mean, we did get around there a little bit. We got to a Timberwolves game. That was kind of interesting. Crowd there, very different. It's not Madison Square. You go in there, what's the name of that arena? I have no idea, and I don't feel ashamed anymore, as I've said many times, to not know the names of arenas anymore because they seem to change almost on a weekly basis. And with all of the corporate naming, it's not like you're talking about Crosley Field or the Polo Grounds. I mean, you're talking about the, Bell Telephone or whatever. So, but that arena was weird. And the one thing that they had.
It's still the Target Center. I think it's been the Target Center for a long time, actually.
As in Target, the cheapo department store? Yeah.
Cheapo. Target Center, yes. I presume it's after that Target. That would make more sense.
I mean, it's kind of, it's a bargain department store, isn't it? I mean, you're going in there, you're not expecting Macy's prices.
No, it's a bargain store for sure. It's just of the two, people consider Target, nicer than Walmart. So that's why when you said the cheapy one, I'm like, well, I mean, I guess it is, but people.
I'll give you a scary one about the economy, Lubie.
Yes.
Yesterday, the Mustang, she buys this chicken for the dogs, right? And cooks it up. We add it to the food that we give them. And so anyway, she tells me she's at Whole Foods. And I'm thinking, immediately horror story. Let me see if I can get a quit claim deed on the house. Put up for a bag of groceries. And she tells me that the price of this particular chicken she buys, which are like, thighs, boneless thighs or something, was cheaper at Whole Foods than it was at the local supermarket, Publix here in South Florida.
Yeah, Whole Foods has done some stuff with the prices, and Publix right now is insane.
How is that possible?
I don't know.
I mean, shopping at the grocery store that is the most common and most convenient here in South Florida. Shouldn't be like going to the gift shop at the Ritz Carlton and having your girlfriend pick out a very expensive purse.
Yeah, exactly. You close your eyes like you're shopping for jewelry.
I'll never forget that. That was one of the scariest incidents of my romantic life. And it wasn't like I was any great romantic, but I happened to have a little capital at the time. And I had like a platinum American Express card. So you could pretty much charge whatever you wanted,
My
right?
wife has that. Shirley has that.
So, well, this was in the past there. That's since been rescinded many times. So I think they're still hounding me for the dime I stiffed them on because they canceled my card while I was out of town with no announcement whatsoever after I'd been a customer and paid every bill on time for like 15 years. All of a sudden, my credit score had taken a little bit of a dip there because I had no money. But yeah, so I'm standing at the counter. We're in the Bellagio shops. Bellagio, when it first opened up, the
Good for you.
Bellagio shops, and I didn't realize. You're feeling it out with a new companion, a new girl in this case, and you don't really know what her tastes are, but you're hoping they're not expensive. Correct? I mean, that's your first desire is that she would much prefer the knockoff, Gucci bag than she would the real thing, because it only leads to the possibility of losing the real thing. It's kind of like the karma I feel about, having a gun is that if I don't carry one, maybe there's a good chance I don't run into one. No, not anymore. That's probably a stupid philosophy.
I don't know.
Hope these gun laws aren't too restrictive. No. I mean, look, we're obviously big advocates for anything good that's going on in that direction. But so we get in there, and she decides to go in, and we're in this Judith Lieber shop. I don't know if you're familiar with the designer Judith Lieber. Sounds like a nice Jewish girl, doesn't it? Like you think she'd be making. I don't want to, say anything, that would endanger my status as being a Jewish person. But sounds like you're going to get stuff that's at a reasonable price. Let's put it that way: reasonable price.
I think Boca. I think a different kind of Jewish.
Well, and there are two schools of thought there, right? There are the Jewish girls that would just as prefer going to Schmatero as they would, going to like the shops on Worth Avenue.
Yeah.
Is that true? No, that's not.
They exist, I'm sure.
I want to believe that. I
don't know if I've come across those as much as the Jewish girls, again, that Greek refers to, and that you.
Oh, but Greek has a very soiled opinion about Jewish women because
but I'm saying
obviously when he was rolling in dough, they fleeced him for a lot of capital.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like he's lived in the Boca, area for a long time. You meet a Jewish person.
That'll taint your opinion also.
And that's what I would see if we're going to the Bellagio. So we're in Vegas and we're going to the Vegas shops.
Yeah.
She's not me.
Judith Lieber. I mean, look her up. Judith Lieber.
I've heard of her. Good luck.
All right. So anyway, she finds something and it looked like it was going to be about 3 sticks, which I wasn't really happy with because I was losing money at the time. And any degenerate gambler knows that the last thing you want to do when you're losing and you've cut into your bankroll is to go shopping with a woman in an expensive place. All right. So for me, I mean, $300 for a purse is a ridiculous amount of money anyway. What do you think, Lubie?
I agree. And that's what's funny is that's nothing.
Who needs a $300 bag that they're going to carry around and probably leave at the bar because they've had too many martinis and, are not particularly happy with the fact that you're still at the blackjack table while they've been sitting there for 4 hours, and they get up in a huff and they leave the $300 bag sitting there just to spite you.
Yeah, 100%. That purse is not getting kept. Something bad is happening to that purse. Especially if you are the one that bought it, that's getting used as something to piss you off one day. 100%.
Or be hitting the head with. I mean, it's possible. Here's your fucking purse. The one you kept whining about on the plane all the way back that you had to buy this purse. All right, so it gets worse though, Lubie, and this was a shocker for me at the time. So anyway, I go to the counter to pay for this purse, what I think I'm paying for, and this 3 sticks. And the lady runs my credit card, and then she hands me a thing to sign, and I start to sign it, with my usual.
Not even looking.
Hey, like this doesn't mean anything to me. The 300. See that, sweetheart?
Yeah, exactly.
And I was about to sign for 6,000. 6,000. There was another purse that some lady had left on the counter after probably finding out that it was 6 times. and she thought that was the one that I was buying
Man, I
for this
know.
particular woman. And I mean, it's almost like, and this was a technique that came back to haunt me in this case. Where I learned this when I was a vendor at Shea. Like if a little kid came up and he wanted a hat, Daddy, Daddy, I want a hat. You put the hat on the kid's head right away. And there's no way that old man's taking it off, even though at the time these hats, like embroidered and fitted caps with like the New York Mets logo, I literally embroidered right into the thing. This was not some patch-on deal that you get at a gas station.
Yeah, the good ones.
Beautiful, man. I mean, Tom Seaver was wearing the same freaking hat. Yeah, maybe a little bigger than little Johnny, but and there it was $1.50, which at the time was like it was a little steep.
That's crazy.
Imagine it.
When I was growing up, those were 20. Now I think they're 30 something.
But once you put the cap on a kid's head, the father's buying it, right? And the most expensive item was the autographed baseball. Dig this now. And it was not really autographed by the team. It was called a reasonable facsimile.
Yeah.
And they actually, I believe, this was, in a very primitive time in terms of making copies of things. I think they put it like in a photostat machine.
I was going to say they did it with computers when I was growing up, so I don't know what else they did back in the 60s or 70s.
I'm not sure. It was some archaic method, like a guy with a sledgehammer and a sweaty hand, putting Mark 7 Productions into a block of cement. I mean, it was very primitive. Those were $3. $3 for that. And it was the most expensive item that we carried on the souvenir stand in the baseball season. And it was considered an outrage, but you would immediately toss the ball to the kid who would run out of the stadium, and then the old man had no choice but to pay for it. So this comes back to haunt me, this whole principle, because now the $6,000 bag looks like I personally upgraded it because I'm a man of great taste and was more than willing to spend 6 times on like a first-time starter. I mean, this we're in our maiden race, our maiden voyage out of town together.
Making me sick.
It was bad enough to get, on the hook for 3 sticks.
I know.
Unbelievable. Anyway, it can happen that you go out there and, get snookered in a situation like that. So how this relates to the basketball game, I don't know. I forget.
I don't know where we started.
Where we started with this whole thing. Yeah.
I agree with you. It's scary. And it is scary the way that the three-pointer has gone out of control. You see, Andy says this a lot, our Andy man in the chat. I'm glad Julian found us. So I guess everyone's found us that was already with us and more are finding us. But like, it shouldn't. It makes sense they're shooting more because it's worth more. So, but it's worth way too much more. It's worth
mathematically, if you were going to be a 50% shooter, you only have to shoot 33%.
But it shouldn't be worth 50% more because you can take a step in, which is pretty much the same shot, and it's worth 2. Like, it shouldn't be worth that much more, like 2.5, or they should move it back. Like you and I've talked about it.
You want to put half points in a basketball?
Or move it back then. Like, it's too easy of a shot for what it's worth. Like, that's why they're all chucking it. They have to do something.
I don't know that the NBA 3, to me, is an easy shot. I mean, the pros are making it. They're not necessarily making any overwhelming favorable percentage. Is there anybody that shoots 50% from 3-point range?
I think Steph was. I think Steph at some point this year did.
50% from 3-point range?
Yeah.
I mean, you'll see occasionally guys that are leading the league in 3-point shooting percentage, and they're hovering around 50. Believe it or not, Colin Korver, the guy I never saw him make a shot. 1 year, I think when he was with the Cavs with LeBron James, and he became their 3-point specialist, or at least part-time 3-point specialist, because he wasn't playing a ton of minutes, I don't think. But when he came in there, I mean, his role was to run to the corner, and after they triple-teamed LeBron, James very good at rifling passes into the corner, and he, I think, happens to like it if the guy hits the shot, but you're going to be so wide open, I think he can about 50% 1 year, Colin Korver. But what's the leading all-time on a reasonable, a number of shots that would constitute qualifying for the shooting percentage title?
It says it's 38% career. I'm trying to get his season.
That's it? Wow.
Yeah, well, that's career. I mean, so there were certain years.
So that's barely over the average that you would need to make to accommodate just taking a bunch of 2-point shots. I guess the 5% differential would be significant enough. It certainly seems like, this kid has made a killing. Is he all-time what? I mean, does he have the most 3-point shots made lifetime? I believe he does.
I think so. Well, Steve Kerr, their coach, has, from what I'm seeing here, has the all-time percentage record at 45%.
That's it. That's the highest anybody ever shot for a season.
Shot a lot less, so it actually probably would help him shooting less because he would have a better chance at making them. Whereas if you're shooting 10, you're not, who knows what you're gonna make. He would shoot like what 3 to, and it was a different era too, where you shot less threes.
Kerr's threes were always very well timed and very much within the concept of what you would anticipate for a guy that was a 3-point shooting specialist, where he never had the ball.
Yeah.
And it got jacked around the horn, or Michael Jordan when he was with the Bulls, and later on, in San Antonio. He was always a guy that would spot right up at the 3-point line, catch a pass, and put it in.
Yeah, he wasn't jacking up 10 or 8.
Well, and he wasn't taking contested threes while dribbling the basketball around 6 guys and then chucking it up from 47 feet. I mean, he was squaring up to the basket, ready to go from either the wing or the corner or the top of the key. And he was very confident from all 5 spots, as I remember.
Like, that was my thing with Steph last night. Like, I get it. He makes longer threes. But even for him, they're usually 30-foot, which is ridiculous. He was shooting like 35-footers last night when he was clearly off. And he was just jacking.
0 for 9, yeah. Short, too. Everything was short last night.
Yeah, it was short. It was like, what are you doing, bud? Come on. Like, do something else.
Like maybe this leg injury was bothering him more than he let on.
It was just gross. Both teams were doing it. They were just jacking it up. And it was like, what game is this? Like,
all right, so what do you expect now? The next game is not till Thursday. Don't tell me that Game 7 potentially would be Sunday.
I presume.
Is that possible? Wow. I mean, another week of this I almost said shit.
Well, you can say shit. Yes, the shit.
Another week of this shit. That's what we're looking at. I mean, was once the biggest basketball fan. I lost interest in the game. I told you I'm kind of rooting for the Celtics in the series. Although if Golden State wins, I applaud the fact that they've done it again, won another championship, and it didn't look like this was going to be their year because Phoenix was so superior during the regular season to virtually everybody. And you thought that they had the goods after knocking on the door last year to go all the way. And sure enough, they ran into all kinds of problems once they got to the playoffs. What happened to Chris Paul, man? Is he even in commercials anymore?
No,
I know they took Phil's ads away, but he signed with the Saudis. What did Chris Paul do besides have a couple of lousy games in a playoff series for the Phoenix Suns?
I don't know.
How did they lose to Dallas either? I mean, that was ridiculous.
Well, now they're questioning Ayton. So look, it's been a really weird playoffs. Like
they were doing great though. No one questioned Ayton during. I mean, right up until the postseason, Ayton was great.
I agree.
Right? It was like, wow, look at the maturity of this guy, and he seems to have a great personality and persona and attitude and approach to the game. Devin Booker was terrific, but I mean, while he's a big star, he doesn't seem to portray a guy that has an overwhelmingly inflated head, does he? Devin Booker, he's got his own unique style. He's kind of cool, but he's very gracious in interviews and things like that. He's not the kind of guy that says, "Yeah, you see that? You see what I did?"
No, he's not ego guy. That's never been his thing. He's a hard and hustle, and he's working hard guy.
Yeah. So what happened there, man? All of a sudden, everybody says they suck.
Well, that's the thing. That's what it feels like this whole playoffs has been, and that's why it's been so seesaw. I feel like everyone sort of picks a game, and then the next game they take off. Like, no one's played consistent. Like, the Warriors were the one team I thought was finally consistent, and they've been totally erratic in these playoffs and these finals. Yeah. Like, it's been a disaster in these.
They certainly look beatable. It isn't like to have that easy start that they got off to, because Boston literally could not make a shot.
No, they couldn't hit the side of a barn. Like, I'm like, the fact that it's a 12-point game right now, if you're the Warriors, you should be freaking out. The Celtics sucked the first quarter.
Horrible first quarter.
And it was like 10 points.
I mean, for at least 10 minutes worth of it. Yeah, they were just a disaster. And, they were still 11 down at halftime. So it wasn't like they made any great advances in the second quarter when it seemed like they might be getting it together a little bit. And then by the third quarter, I was thinking, I can't watch any more missed 3-point shots. I mean, I may as well just go out to the park in the dark and start hoisting them up there and listen to see if, something goes through the net, or the usual clank. Yeah, exactly. How about in the midst of all of that poor 3-point shooting, Poole makes that bank shot from 50 feet.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, I mean, just arbitrary, bizarre, luck deciding these basketball games. I'm expecting, I think Boston bounces back and forces a 7th game, which would be what? Do they play that next year?
It'll be in August.
This will be the first 3-season championship.
NFL
Did the season start late or something? What the hell is going on out here, man? I'm going to be 71 before they complete the finals.
Look,
that's July 5th.
A couple of weeks ago to me, and I sort of agreed with him where he was like, "Look, we have nothing else going on. Let him stretch it out." And I get it, but like 3-week finals,
it's insane, right?
like,
Mike Breen, man, he's losing his teeth and his hair.
What do you mean he's gotten COVID and come back from it? Like that's how long. That's how long it was. Like.
Is Joe Girardi going to become a broadcaster again now that he's out at Philadelphia? What do you think?
Wait, did they see what happened there?
He was kind of vapid there as a broadcaster. What do you think of Joe Girardi?
He doesn't say anything, but I'm saying, okay, have they said what happened, or he's just Girardi? This is what he does. Like I don't get it. I know
I don't know.
Great, but they're sort of in it. The NL East hasn't been spectacular.
Oh, they were just on a 9-game winning streak. It was snapped the other day. Was that by the Marlins? It might have been.
Yeah. So I don't get, like, I know he wasn't doing great, but I don't understand. It's the middle of the season. Like, when do they just fire guys like that? Unless they're like the worst in the league. Like, I get it why they got rid of Madden. The Angels had lost 14 in a row. Like, you got to do something.
Yeah, they were looking bad.
That.
Yeah, and the Angels tried to position themselves to be contenders this year, so that was a double failure. But yeah, I mean, Joe Girardi had been known to wear out his welcome in places. Rightfully so, probably with the Marlins. I don't know. Was he a bit of a bitter guy when he was with the Yankees all of those years? It seemed like there was always contention there, but there always is with Yankee managers. Although this year, everybody seems to be very happy. You're not hearing the usual Aaron Boone attacks, which are on a daily basis. There are like thousands of people that believe that Aaron Boone has no business being a baseball manager, except this year. Now that all of their pitchers, their starters are lights out, and their hitters are the eighth guy in the lineup. Like Hector Lopez has 20 home runs already this year. Unbelievable. Hector checked out, though, one of the all-time greats.
I don't think Hector Lopez still plays.
I think he's dead. Number 11, Hector Lopez. All right, speaking of Hispanic influences, man, I mean, is there anything better than that crowd at Hialeah Park? How great is that, man?
Not even
See,
close.
you need to spice up your life a little bit, man. All these people that walk around depressed. We had a little bit of this with Mayo yesterday, right? Only won $700.
Hey, a winning weekend. We were happier for him than he was.
Won a dime, this guy, and he's bummed out. I love Mayo, but geez, come on, Mike, snap out of it. Get a little salsa vibe going in your body, man. Start thinking positive and realizing that the place that you pick up that vibe, like no other casino, I'm going to say this without qualification, in the world, that vibe is at Hialeah Park, man. The people are dancing. Because they're making money in the casino. Steve Calabro wouldn't have it any other way. Beautifully appointed. I mean, you walk in there, it's the perfect blend, the perfect infusion, the cohesion of old and new, my friend. I mean, just absolutely great. The ground's still impeccable, and they bring you back all of the great memories that you had of going to the races there at Hialeah Park, which were many for me. I really had some of my best experiences were at Hialeah Park. There was that thing on the rooftop too with the girl that was the hostess there. No, I mean, it was great. I loved it. A lot of great memories. And then, of course, when you go in there, you're creating all new situations to have fun. Champion Simulcasting Room, my personal favorite in terms of any place to go and bet the ponies. Just great screen-to-screen action. You see how they have the screen set up there, Lubie. Is it perfect for me?
It's perfect for everybody.
I only have to look in one direction the entire time. Straight ahead. And then they have plenty of self-betting machines, so, you're not fumbling over people. Come on, hey, I want to bet Pimlico. It's going off. Can I get in there? It's none of that, man. And then they have plenty of tellers also, and they know how to punch tickets, which is a big thing. I mean, you have experienced people there, so you're not having to look and go, oh, no, I said the fairgrounds. As the race is going off, and you have two 80-1 shots boxed for $50, right? Another stick right out the window because of a teller mistake. Experienced people. It's great. So you're going to love every aspect of it. Frank Fiore wouldn't have it any other way. The Brunettis wouldn't have it any other way. Dennis Testa wouldn't have it any other way. How does he keep the ground so impeccable, this Dennis Testa? It's just incredible, man. You owe it to yourself. I mean, and if you're having a private party or anything like that, they can handle all these affairs. HialeahPark.com, great website with all the entertainment that goes on. Haven't heard an announcement yet about the next El Boxeo, I would imagine.
I'll talk to Frankie because I'm ready. That was a blast, man.
Wow, I want to see that kid again, man, in the snakeskin shorts, whose name I never really fully got a grasp of. But, wow, he looked good, man. He reminded me of my man, Leo Santa Cruz, in the early days of Santa Cruz's career. Boom, boom, 2 times to the body, then upstairs. Really good. Fast hands and, impact punches, right? Knocked that guy out with a body punch.
Yep.
And the guy was one of those veteran guys that, could take a punch. He knows that he's in there to go some rounds there and challenge this kid a little bit. And, wow, a very, very, very sensational performance. And that wasn't even that Abreu kid. Did you see him?
Yeah, he was good. Well, there was like 4 or 5 fights in a row. Like, you had to get
I had to get rolling because the Stang was rolling in the casino there, and how that goes.
And she was up, and you're like, let's get the. Ken and I were like, yeah, that's a good move on his part to get the hell out of here while she's still up.
Yeah, I think we made 8 sticks that night. It was great.
So that's the thing is, like, they had like 4 or 5 fights in a row that were really good, and Professor and I were like, yeah, I don't think we're leaving. Like, this is legit. Like, the fights were really good, which is rare on a card like that.
Yeah, unfortunately, we had to bail out. But no, that was great. I'm looking forward to the next one. What a perfect setting, too. It was, just a beautiful evening out there. Although, off in the background there's always something, right, in South Florida, where all of a sudden you hear this loud clap of thunder and you're thinking, oh, my God, no, please. If there is a God in heaven and John Brunetti Sr. has any influence, don't let it rain on this parade. And it didn't. It was great. I think John Sr. was involved in that decision there to make sure that the people just had a good time. They always take care of every detail, even if it involves divine intervention. That's what it's all about at beautiful Hialeah Park. All right, we're coming back with more of the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie Lubitz. It's South Florida Live. I need to send out the link to more of our people here.
I mean, they can look up the Defo Show with Lubie. They can look up Mike Mayo's Lunchbox either on YouTube or Google, and you will find us. Like, it works. But the link is the best way because they don't have to do any work. Like, they can just click the link, click subscribe, and then you get updates of the show. You get when we're premiering. You'll get everything we're doing with South Florida Live. The Greek started his foray on South Florida Live yesterday.
Oh, nice.
And I think he won outright. I think he had. Oh no, he might have got Steph wrong. He had Steph under. It was 30 in a hook, and he went under for Steph, and Steph was definitely under. And he had the Warriors first half, and I think they were laying a point, and they were up by like double digits. So he's off to a 2-0 start.
They took the first half by 11. So, very good. 2-0 to Greek, man.
Yep.
All right, good. I'm glad he's joined us. I'm going to get in touch, and we're going to expand all of the different things that we do here on the channel, which is kind of cool because it's always been of interest to me. We have the Mike Mayo Lunchbox going right now, and maybe I finally get my Pasta and Pony show off the ground here.
Well, that would be great. I'm hoping that's the way we can get Polyman, and it took literally the Greek and I did it by ourselves. It took no time. Like, if I can just get Polyman to learn how to handle his email.
Not sure I'm going to be able to join you this week. The show's really good. It's really funny.
No, we love the Polyman. I mean, and people ask me, that is the second most often asked question by anybody in South Florida. The first would be, why is it so fucking hot here? And the second would be, hey, what's going on with the Polyman?
Yep.
Right? You were at the track. How many Polyman inquiries were there? I mean, you would have thought he was in the steward's box. It's unbelievable. There's another inquiry about the Polyman. And it's a routinely asked question. So we hope to bring them to you shortly here. And I think I want to end up doing a little music thing. A thing on the music.
Well, that's what I was thinking. It's funny you thought about that, and I reached out to
branch out a little bit here.
Tour now, so he doesn't have time for us. But I'm hoping he still is checking out what we do because he listened to our podcast daily. The one and only Albert Castillo, Mr. Grammy himself.
Oh, Albert,
So I was like, there's got to be Defo's dream. We can now make it happen because these guys can be in the studio, set up a computer, and I can bring
with a feeling, my friend. Yeah.
You know, and that's like, okay, cool. This is the way to do it. And then I haven't heard from him, so I'll leave that to you.
Maybe punch that out once a week, and we'll run it.
Well, like what's his name's house? Like we'll still. I don't mind stealing from Hall of Famer. Like when they go to the garage, it's the same kind of a thing, And
it'll be great. There are a lot of great artists down here.
We have a lot of local.
We wouldn't even have to move around. And then, guys come in internationally, especially to places like the Funky Biscuit. Crazy Uncle Mike's also features a lot of bands. Kelly Brothers has different guys coming in. But Funky Biscuit alone brings in all kinds of acts from all over the country and all over the world. So,
it's
we
something
could
that I've
probably
been
have
watching
access to a lot.
on TikTok, and we do have a South Florida Live TikTok. We have a South Florida Live Facebook. We have a South Florida Live Instagram and Twitter, and it's at SoFly Live _. I've come upon this channel where it's actors interviewing actors. And it's the most interesting shit because they're weirdly honest with each other.
Sure.
They ask great questions. So I'm like, I would love to hear musicians, and that's why Daryl's house is great.
That was my idea today. Yeah, exactly.
I love that. Like, I'm like, damn, that would be great to hear Albert talk to all these whatever. Like,
from one of my friends here on the local music scene, the great Drew Preston, who's got wild experience all over the world with different artists. Plays a whale of a guitar himself, and I was thinking, geez, why don't we have musicians interview musicians? That'd be awesome.
I love that.
Yeah, just talking about all kinds of different stuff. All right, we're coming back with more here on the Defo Show. A lot of plans, though, for South Florida Live. Lubie, I believe Lubie has the rights to the channel here. And
I don't have any rights. We need to get rights, actually. So that's what I have to work on. So talk to someone you know.
I don't want to be owned by anybody anymore.
I don't want to be owned by anybody.
That's my thing. Too old for that. No, and it's great because you can create your own thing without having a whole large capital investment. I mean, it used to cost thousands just to do the post-production on like a half-hour television show. It was unless you had free time in a studio, you were essentially not going to be able to independently get into this business where, it's pretty easy to do now. So maybe our time has come. That's always something positive to think. All right, I'll get into this stuff. The U.S. Open, I'm going to go in a pool, and I believe I'm going to bet Cameron Smith at 22-1.
Okay.
For you degenerate sickos out there.
Isn't he
that's the guy with that's the guy with the mullet, the crazy guy with the mullet from Australia, right?
Yeah, but he's actually really good, right? Isn't he like actually rated
excellent?
High?
No, he's been a factor in all of the big tournaments that he's played in, and he seems due to crack through. He seems to have the right kind of disposition that he wouldn't be putting one on the hospitality tent on 18 or going Vandeveld. If he was in a position to win the thing, he seems to have a pretty good composure out there. I give him a shot. 22-1 now. I saw the odds.
Yeah, that's great.
22-1. Now McIlroy's like 11-1, and you would have to think that McIlroy would be a rational favorite to win this. This John Rahm has fallen off the cliff somewhere. I don't know what happened to him. He won his one major, and then that was it. Kaputski, right? Remember that? He was making all these twisting, turning putts, and from all over the place. It was like, whoa, look at that! Left to right, to left to right.
The Duke was on him super early, and he would like always be in contention, and then he sort of like
and then he started winning a couple of tournaments, and then he won a major. But since that time, that was last year sometime, and he has not been a big factor, but usually is very low odds. Of course, Scheffler is going to be among the favorites. I think he was 14-1. But I think about it. You had a guy. I think Scheffler is due to have a little cooling off period. No, that was too hot of a pace for any PGA golfer to sustain. And you have the very interesting component here of these LIV guys coming back to compete in the U.S. Open that gets underway on Thursday. So it's kind of like, in some ways, the scab football players coming back.
Yes.
Right? I mean, the PGA Tour guys have to, form the picket lines, and these guys are going to walk right through it, right? And they're going to act like it's all okay. But as we were talking about earlier with the money thing, can you really look at Charles Schwartzel? I don't think he's in this, but I think that guy just won $5 million for winning a tournament against 47 other guys, and I beat a field of 156 of the best in the world. I mean, and a lot of these guys, are kind of, I don't want to say washed up has-beens, but when is Ian Poulter going to win another tournament? Never.
They're washed up has-beens. That's the whole thing.
when he gets, is he on the senior tour already? Poulter, the guy with the weird pants?
Probably. I haven't heard his name in a long time.
Looks like Rod Stewart with a golf club. Ian Poulter. You know that guy?
Yes.
It was late September, and I really should be back at school. You can almost hear him saying that, singing that as he comes down the fairway there, if he happens to be in contention. All right, we'll get into this because it's an interesting issue. And now very shortly after the sparks started to fly with all of these defectors, and it was finally defined who they are. Now, Phil yesterday had a press conference where, I mean, he was labeled as looking despondent. But, I mean, is that just a great acting job? How despondent can you be with the $200 million? You already decided that it wasn't worth whatever level of integrity that you wanted to present yourself as having. For all this charitable stuff that you do and all of the sponsors that you formerly represented. Because, I mean, they dropped off like flies when Phil signed up with the Saudis. That was it, right? Won't see Phil in any Cadillac commercials. All right, we're coming back with more in a moment. We'll get into that a little bit and a bunch of other things that are happening in the world of sports. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie, and it's South Florida Live. So the music show, we put that on the burner, right?
I'm ready, man. Let's go. I'm ready for all
that'll be nice.
I got his noodle working. I've talked to Miss Kim.
We have food covered.
We're trying to get I'm trying to get, we want to get women. It's very much what we were doing with Defo Radio, but today where we can actually do it. So the idea is to get all walks of life involved. Of what South Florida is an area that, like you've said it for years, no one understands.
Very eclectic, man.
That's not from here, and even the people from here don't understand it. It's its own animal, and the idea is to bring it all together right here at South Florida Live.
I believe it's phenomenal, though. I mean, look, a lot of people, they say, hey, why don't you move to Melbourne or something? I would blow my brains out if I lived in Melbourne. Even though I could sell this joint, go up there, probably live right on the beach there for about half the money.
Yep.
Have a bunch of cash in the bank, and live happily ever after, going to the dog track with my friend Francesco every day. But think about that. I mean, that's not a great, a sort of colorful and adventurous life. Not that I'm all that adventurous, but here it's so easy to do everything. That's the beauty of South Florida for the most part. I mean, unless you cross into Dade County and trying to beat the traffic at rush hour, that ain't happening. How slowly can people crawl on the highways? It's incredible. Now, I've lived in some congested cities. New York certainly was no bargain at any great time. In L.A., I mean, wow. Even back in the day, I mean, that was horrendous. You couldn't count on, people readily accepted if you were like 2 hours late for something. Where you were supposed to be somewhere at 12 and you showed up at 2. And this predated cell phones when I was out there. But they would just go, you took the Hollywood freeway up, huh? I told you. Allow yourself some extra time. Because it would be a veritable brick wall at any time. And that was 50 years ago. So, I mean, imagine what it's like today. Mike Lubie rolling around there in the streets of L.A. Getting into Chavez Ravine there for a Dodger game was no bargain either. That was another place like, where is it? Clemson, where there's only one road in and out of the football stadium. And, I mean, if you're getting to the game a little bit late, if you're not like tailgating 18 hours before the game, you're shut out. That's it. It's going to take you an hour and a half to go to last mile. All right, we're coming back with more on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie. So you have some Greek coming up. Yes. On the channel, South Florida Live. We're already airing Mike Mayo's Lunchbox.
Yes.
But we had to, get some kind of stimulator to get Mayo going yesterday. He started out strong, and then he was like fading throughout the show. It was like, come on, Mike.
It was just
pick
funny.
Up the pace.
It was like making me tired. I'm like, I was not tired until, why am I? Oh, look at him. He's like passed out.
All right, back with more in a moment here. Don't forget about our friends at Hialeah Park, too. Back with more in a moment. Now that. The time. It is, what is it? 7:58.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously. Friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Recently, we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business. And the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. Before you call the insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752. Would you go into court without an attorney? So why would you go up against an insurance company without Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa? 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Give them a call at 954-809-8752. Why go up against insurance companies alone when you can have Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa on your side?
You know, people don't like being lied to. That's always the thing. With Pete Rose, if he had just said, of course I bet the Reds. What are you talking about? I had money on every game. We know you did, Pete. It's all right. I mean, now it'd be accepted. In fact, they would have, it's only a matter of time before the manager of the two teams is asked who he likes in the game. All right, we're going down on the field there. We got Tony LaRussa. Tony, what do you think tonight? White Sox minus 135? Well, you know, we're going to go to the pen right away, and I'm going to make like 7 righty-lefty switches at inappropriate times, and I'm going to wear on my bullpen. In fact, all of these guys worked in the game last night, so I would think this. I would take the points, take the runs, and take the price on the Boston Red Sox tonight to beat us. I would not lay 135 to win 100 on the Chicago White Sox. Okay, thanks, Tony. Let's go to Alex Cora. Cora, what do you got? Well, you know, we got all our heavy hitters at the beginning of the lineup tonight, and they really pound this White Sox pitcher the last time he was out there. So I would think that we're a good bet, money line, straight up. When's that going to happen? I mean, that's going to be part of the pregame shows now.
Enjoy your trip to work with lots of laughs thanks to Defo and Lubie. Now on the Defo Show.
Obviously, demented minds think very much alike here as Mike Lubitz chooses that particular clip talking about the managers are going to start analyzing the game from a gambling standpoint before the game gets underway. They'll ask the two coaches. They'll go to Steve Curry and say, hey, is there any shot Klay Thompson, 3.5 over, under, number of threes? Are you planning on having him hoist a few from the outside? And Kerr will give you a straight answer because he's obligated to by FanDuel, whose tattoo he now has on his face like he was Mike Tyson. Steve Kerr, I'm talking about. Imagine. Yes, very conservative when it comes to this sort of thing, although very outspoken in a liberal fashion about issues, which I applaud the man for using his platform to take a stand there, which I happen to agree with 1,000%. But, you know, that's a whole other thing. But very appropriate, and it'll be only a matter of time before Kerr is making comments on that, and then they'll go to the other sideline, and they'll ask Udoka how many points he thinks Tatum is going to score.
And I'm waiting for it.
You know, the under players are overwhelmingly sending it in, saying that there's no way he gets to 27 points tonight. Coach, what do you think? It'll be great. So here are the odds for the U.S. Open. Now, we've said this before. And I discovered this several years ago, that golf is one of the most fascinating bets, especially if you're in contention. And you do need to cash a couple of times, though. And, you know, we started out in a big fashion. I don't know if we haven't worn out our welcome in terms of money in the black off the Martin Keimer score. And that was too many years ago to feel comfortable with, Mike Lubitz, although $20 got you $900 on Martin Keimer, which isn't bad, right? Because, you know, you're not betting a fortune on these golfers. If you put a stick on a guy, that would, in my estimation, be a lot of money because it's so incredibly wide open. And that's why with the favorite, Rory McIlroy, coming off a giant victory where he shot 62 on a closing day to, you know, stave off and then eventually, you know, close out before he even got to 18, essentially. McIlroy holds off Justin Thomas, who's been, you know, very, very tough for many years, but especially so this year. He seems to have regained his form. He wins a major and is bolstered by that. And he's right there in this Canadian Open, another I don't know if you consider that it's not a major, but it's a national championship, much like this U.S. Open is, with many of the same players, that are not necessarily from Canada, right? What do you got? Mike Weir and one other Canadian guy, and that's it.
I was gonna say I was gonna make Weir. I don't know who else is Canadian.
I think Bobby Hull teed it up there for the. Is Hull still alive? Bobby Hull, dead or alive? I want to say dead. Bobby Hull. Find out if Bobby Hull is alive. Bobby Hull, the great Bobby Hull. From the Red Line, Hull. Oh, and he blisters it past Jockerman. Unbelievable. Or is the count?
He is alive.
He's alive? Oh, yeah, good.
Good for him.
Nice, man.
And I think Hector Lopez is alive, too. I think he's like 92.
Oh, Hector's alive? Yeah. All right, good. We've killed off 2 more people that are very much alive and still with us. All right, so, if you think McIlroy is on a roll here, can he come back? The odds of a golfer winning back-to-back weeks, it happens, and in fact, you'll see a guy get on a little streak like Scheffler did where, he won what, like 5 out of 7 tournaments or 4 out of 7, something like that?
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so you get 11-1 on McIlroy if you wanted to sort of hedge your bet, but I'm going to go against that. Yeah. And I'm dropping all the way past Justin Thomas. John Rahm is only 14-1, and Andy tells us
in the world.
He's ranked second in the world, but based on what?
I don't know. I haven't seen.
That was yesterday, my friend. Yesterday. I don't know. Does he get it together all of a sudden in this tournament? I'm not seeing that for some reason. Scotty Scheffler, also 14-1, has tailed off a little bit from a pace that was so ridiculously hot that even Tiger Woods couldn't sustain it over an entire season in his heyday. But you come back with him at 14-1. Those are all prohibitive. So I'm looking into the 20s here. This Cameron Smith guy, I'm telling you, Lubie.
I'm not fighting you. Those are
22-1. That's going to be my degenerate stamp of approval. Take it to the bank. 22-1. You put a stick on this guy, you get back 2,200.
Yeah, that's sick.
How can you possibly, not feel somewhat comfortable about that until he shoots 3 over the first day? And then you're looking at the screen going, fuck.
that's
now the stick up and smoke.
You're so confident until Friday morning. You're like, what the hell happened?
So maybe this is a way to do it. Do you want to invest $200 of imaginary money in this? Because this would be the way to do it, I would think. Okay?
You're actually getting me excited.
Your big bet is, then you're reducing your odds also. I mean, do you take a swipe at a couple of other guys with like another, $20 even at big odds to kind of hedge off, the stick that you have on this Cameron Smith guy? Because Tony Finau is hot right now. He finished second in that tournament, had a really nice tournament in the Canadian Open. And he's been like in like the top 10 or top 5, I think, in many of his frequent events. Tony Finau, who everybody likes, right? He looked like he was going to break through and be a really top-notch guy, and then all of a sudden he sort of was having a bunch of mediocre to poor results by the standard he had set the previous year, and now he's sort of back on his game. 33-1, Lubie. How attractive is that number?
Oh,
Tony Finau.
That's pretty solid.
So we got a stick on Cameron Smith. Right? We're going to put 20 on Tony Finau.
Actually win. We're going to be pissed that we didn't put any real money on it.
Yeah. Now, where do we go for the nondescript European schmink?
I don't know. Okay, that leads me into what I was about to ask you.
You know what the odds are on Phil to win this thing?
I was going to say, this is, if they're doing the Saudi Arabian thing, the LIV Tour, they can't do PGA Tour events. So they're not going to be able to do one of these bigger events in a long time until this thing gets sorted out. So are we just writing off the Saudi guys? Like, couldn't this be the time where they
writing them all off completely? Yeah. Clown show of disgrace.
Not kept going.
They're going to be booed. They're going to be the first golfers ever like roundly and resoundingly booed. I mean, these are scabs.
Yeah, but they may
to the
embrace
PGA
it.
Tour guys.
What's his name? DJ feels like a guy that embraces it. Dustin Johnson, like he couldn't come in.
Nah, he's got to look disgraced, don't you think? I mean, here are the PGA Tour guys that stood up for whatever level of integrity these guys are capable of having. And as you pointed out, the philosophies of the professor, I think, are well reasoned. And you're filthy rich anyway. So how rich do you need to be? Look, it's going to be tempting, no matter what, to overlook the negativity that's implied and inherent in taking this cash, right? Because why are the Saudis all of a sudden holding 8 golf events and trying to attract the biggest names from American golf and worldwide golf. Unless they want to have these associations and use their name and likeness and all of that to promote the fact that, hey, it's a lot of fun over here. We have great people representing us. Look at this. We're Universal. We're into golf. And there's Phil. Phil, literally, I mean, and I referenced this before. When we first saw Cat Stevens resurface, the musician Cat Stevens, who had always been a very handsome, clean-cut guy with a well-groomed beard, and then all of a sudden he looked like Rumpelstiltskin. Some mountain man, like he was hanging out with Forrest Gump. During that stage where he let his beard grow like ZZ Top, and he looked like a disheveled, semblance of his former self. Although, very happily into some kind of bizarre zen that had freed his spirit and allowed him to, get over the fact that he was this giant rock star and probably was, I don't know. I mean, chicks had to be groveling at this man's feet. No, Cat Stevens.
Oh, in his prime, he was a big deal.
The guy whips out a guitar on the beach. You don't think he's getting laid at West End too? Are you kidding me?
Oh no! To this day, if you're the guy that's a musician, you always have a nice move.
Yeah, I mean, you got a leg up on virtually everything, right?
Yep.
Had a couple of girls smile at me after I got off that drum set there at that party the other day.
Exactly.
I didn't know you played. I don't. It's the same song every time. It's the same beat. Boom, tap, tap, boom, tap, tap, boom, tap, tap, boom. That's it. My father taught me that one a long time ago.
There you go.
I said, Dad, I mean, we got to get a little more advanced than that if we're going to make it in this thing. He was in a marching band, so my father. So you know what? You tend to teach what you know. That's what we're saying here on the show. All right, so what happens with all of this? Is it going to get ugly? I mean, are people going to, Phil hits one into the woods and everybody's, yeah, right, man, right? Are they going to move trees in front of Westhausen's ball so that there's no way? I mean, you would think they would stop at nothing to make sure that none of these guys break through. So I'm not betting any of them. The Saudi cop-out guys. And I don't know, is it fair to condemn these people, Lubie, as being sellouts? Now, at least Phil yesterday, he got up there and he finally just said, you know what it was about? It was about the money.
Well,
okay.
I mean, yes.
You're gonna leave. But he did talk about all of this other stuff, but he, had the same tendency to just shrug his shoulders about, the 9/11 people are upset, as they should be. Anybody, the families of, people that were victims of this 9/11 attack, which, I think of that, they just outrageously large ramifications of what happened that even happened years later to some of these first responders and firemen that were laced with asbestos. And, they went in there to try and save people, and they ended up having
cancer, breathing issues. Yep.
Horrible experiences through the last, 5 or 6 years of a very, very difficult life. Wow. I don't want that. Do you, Lubie?
Oh, no. No. Nope.
So if you're taking money from the people that kind of, were very much...
Yeah, we're responsible for that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty clear they're responsible for it.
It's kind of rough to just shrug your shoulders and go, yeah, well, there were a few unfortunate things here in the dossier. But I didn't read that. It wasn't in the contract when I took the $200 million and put it immediately in some bank in the Cayman Islands that was being watched over by the new version of the law firm, The Firm, right? From the movie. That was great. Ole Miss made it to
the World Series, the College World Series.
Who was it? Grisham? That was the Ole Miss guy, John Grisham. Yeah, and he was great. I mean, we should try and find him, again if we can. I don't know what the odds are, just to comment on this World Series, because wow, did he have the history, right? Going all the way back to Will Clark.
It was
fantastic. John Grisham, yeah. You weren't expecting that from Grisham, were you?
No, he was one of our favorite conversations. We're I don't think I've ever heard him talk before, and he was really fun. He was classic.
Oh yeah, he was great. And who was the actor? Will something?
Where he passed recently. He talked about Wilford Brimley.
Wilford Brimley, yeah. And when he talked about that whole Wilford Brimley story, because of course he was one of the guys in the firm, the evil security guy that was orchestrating all of this hell. For poor Tom Cruise, who was just trying to make an honest living there, coming out of school as a very green naive person entering the legal world. There, Hackman was great in that movie, huh? Gene Hackman.
Oh yeah, well, he's great in everything.
Hackman was great. Unbelievable. Can't believe I ran into him at the harness races of all things.
Well, it's not that show. The degenerate.
Anyway, I mean, it's going to be weird. So I'm taking a stand here. I mean, am I accepting blood money from the Saudis by betting Cameron Smith from Australia to prevail in the U.S. Open, and then taking a little flyer, a $20 flyer on Tony Finau, 22-1, nondescript European schminks. So Phil's 200-1 to win this thing. 200-1. They give him no shot. DeChambeau, they have it 80-1. He hasn't been playing very well, and he had that wrist injury, and now I don't know. He would be the one guy that wouldn't care about the people booing him, right? DeChambeau.
Well, that's what I was trying to get to. Is I didn't realize he was playing that poorly. Like DeChambeau owns the. He was already the guy that went after Koepka. So if anyone could put it together to win,
I think Koepka went after him because they think he's a schmink.
Well, he's not the brightest bulb as we can see, but like DeChambeau would be the guy to be like, as Ken did last week, who would own the heel wrestling guy thing,
Yes.
And he would come in and just be like, screw you, and like out of nowhere just wreck shop. But I mean, if he's played that poorly, it's hard to see that guy come out of nowhere.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I mean, U.S. Open crowds in New York, we know that they would be letting Phil hear it. Can you imagine if this thing was at Bethpage Black?
Yeah, they're lucky it ain't there.
That would be the only way that you could possibly add to what would be a very, very heated position that people will be taking about this whole business with the Saudi guys coming right back into the fold here. I mean, you couldn't ask for more in terms of golf drama. Now, how will Jim Nantz handle this whole situation? What do you think? And will there be an overwhelming amount of coverage of Phil Mickelson with Tiger not in the tournament, even if Phil is hopelessly out of it after like the first round?
How do you cover
all of Phil?
Well, Phil's out of it. I don't know, but how do you cover him? Because I don't think they want to mention the LIV thing at all. But how do you cover Phil and not mention the LIV thing at all? I don't know how you do that.
How could you cover the tournament and not talk about this?
They can do that. They're good at covering up crap. I don't know how you talk to
Will there be any mention of Saudi Arabia during the course of the tournament?
They'll probably knock it out really early. And then when people question, well, you never talked about it. See, they'll show the one clip where they talked about it for 30 seconds and then they like never go back to it.
You don't think Jimmy and Nick sit there for a while on a set and shoot a fat about the relative merits of accepting $200 million in Saudi blood money to go and play 8 events, which also offer you a chance to win like another, $32 million if you happen to sweep them all? Where Phil, for shooting 10 over in a 3-round event, still managed to bank $150,000 additional dollars to cover his expenses for going to London. So no matter what he bet while he was over there, imagine, is Phil welcome in every bookmaking shop in London? Because, I mean, there you walk in. And
probably now.
You can pretty much bet on anything, right?
He's solvent. He probably is now.
We'll have to find out if he put a couple of dimes on himself. Maybe it's worth a flyer at 20. Oh, no, 201. All right, so what do you think, Lubie? Do you like this? Cameron Smith?
Cameron Smith. I definitely like the Cameron
22-1 a stick and to win 2,200. And then to win 660, 20 on Tony Finau, and figure that $120 could have been put towards a much better cause.
Well, the professor had an interesting strategy in the chat line. I presume he's Defo Radio Crew. It was Mississippi State because he mentioned Will Clark and Will Clark.
Mississippi State. Yeah, not Ole Miss.
Wasn't Ole Miss, but 25 or whatever number you want to put, 15, whatever, on 8 long shots, because then that gives you're going to get some kind of a long shot randomly to win this thing. So if you could
possibly
6 to 8, that's a nice number that covers a wide range where you should be in it.
But are you also, you have to ask yourself this question as any kind of rational degenerate, are you ignoring the obvious? I mean, are you just so obsessed with the idea that it's going to be some balloon that comes in that you're passing on 11-1, which is very generous, on Rory McIlroy, or 12-1 on Justin Thomas, the guys that ran 1-3 in last week's event, which had a very full field of guys that obviously see this as, not a major, but a very a distinctive title. Let's put it that way. Canadian Open.
Yeah.
Right? Bobby Hull's still alive, man. He was probably applauding the winner. Bobby Hull.
I'm sure he was.
Slap shot from the red line by Bobby Hull was a thing of beauty, man. That thing would just rise. I mean, I don't think they had curved sticks back then, did they?
I don't think so.
And the goalies didn't even wear masks. Can you imagine?
Wow,
Bobby
that's
Hull was
scary.
hitting these slap shots from the blue line at like 170 miles an hour. It would be like standing in front of the wall of a highlight fronton and having Joey from point blank range fire the pelota at your head. Incredible. What were they thinking, man? No masks. You ever see Terry Sawchuk? We should always hang a picture of Terry Sawchuk, the goaltender. There's one picture of him in particular. If you look up images of Terry Sawchuk, and I mean, he has more scars on his face than Al Capone, man. It's unbelievable. And all because he was in the pre-mask era of goaltending. What kind of balls did you have to play the position? Who the hell is going to line up there? Like it would be like being Gary Gilmore in front of that Utah firing squad.
I mean, that's crazy.
Blocking pucks with your face.
Man, that's nuts.
Lubie.
I know, that's nuts. I can't even.
How did they live? I mean, you'd figure one puck to the head and it's over. No.
Yes, that's scary. And well, they didn't.
Things
think
wobbling in there too. It's coming in there like an egg ball. You know that kind of thing. It's ugly. All right, I'll tell you something that's beautiful, and I'm thinking it's going to be a really nice weekend. But anytime's a good time to get to Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, and that's mile marker 104, Key Largo. Just a great place to go, and it really is. The word chill is extremely appropriate because tremendous place to just chill out. We had such a great time when we were down there last year, and looking very much forward to going back. And anytime I'm in the Keys, I know there are a lot of traditional stops there along the way. Where's that place where you get the conch fritters on Guard Sound Road?
I don't know.
Classic joint, right? I mean, everybody goes there, but I mean, you're kind of cheating yourself out of a better opportunity to have some even greater food and with much more attention to detail in the way that they do things at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. Not to put down the other place, because we're not into negative selling. You don't have to say, hey, this place stinks and you should go there when it comes to Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. The pizzas, I mean, to thrill Lubie with every item is not an easy thing to do, because you'll usually make a face if you don't like something. And I worry about that with you on a Mike Mayo lunchbox when you're actually at one of these places, that you might try something and the guy misinterprets that face that you make, which is usually very bitter and sour, Lubie, and doesn't realize that you're actually loving the stuff. All right? But, I mean, you couldn't be more thrilled than with all the items that we had there. And I didn't get to try enough of them because I became obsessed with that Italian fisherman pizza, which lasted me almost the entire weekend by the time that I ate all the slices, right? Because they had magnificent accommodations there, made it very easy to preserve this thing. But, wow, I mean, that was just fantastic. I mean, I don't know. I had a lot of different meals in Italy, and I can envision having a couple of them because they were very, very good. And I can still see that Italian fisherman pizza when it came out, and I looked at it, and I was like, wow, I get to eat that? Are you kidding me? And the concept, I mean, wasn't necessarily something that they would find commonplace, right? You don't see like a seafood pizza.
No, it's rare. And it was a great idea, and they do it. It's amazing. And it's filling.
And the freshest of stuff, whether you were talking about the shrimp or the scallops or the lobster tail that was on there, was just absolutely amazing. And that's kind of creative stuff that they do down there at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. Yeah, you're going to love it. The grounds are just absolutely exquisite. Right there on the Bayside, a tremendous place to watch that sun drop into the horizon while you're listening to the great live music that they play there. And you'll even see Dominic and Jimmy and Larry Calvano. Dominic, of course, the guy behind all of the great food that comes out of the kitchen there. And Calvano owns the place, right? Not too bad, right? Hooked up with Jimmy, and next thing you know, they had themselves just an absolute pristine spot to stop. Mile marker 104, there are accommodations there. You can look up jimmyjohnsonsbigchill.com. Overseas Highway, as soon as you hit Key Largo, there it is. You're coming down from Florida City, bypass the Mutineer, and boom, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. You're going to love it. And wow, I mean, you might not want to leave. That's the thing. Well, once you get there, say you stopped in at noon, I'll bet you're still there at 10 o'clock, like chowing down and drinking and having a good time at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, mile marker 104, the Overseas Highway in Key Largo. All right, coming back with more here on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest and Mike Lubie Lubitz, South Florida Live. Going to be a very eclectic mix.
Yes.
Of a lot of things, or so we hope. I mean, it's a very ambitious undertaking, Mike Lubie Lubitz.
The idea. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see going for it.
See if we can pull this off. It'd be great. Well, at least we know this show is going strongly. So that's a good thing. All right, back with more in a moment. Now that. It's 8:24. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in Style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. You know, since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapist, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Mark Henry, who is a Hall of Famer from the WWE, but also has many great distinctions. This gentleman holds world records that perhaps will never be broken. Mark, you really think those Russians were juicing in the Olympic Games? They had women that were bigger than you.
I just want to ask you this question. Is pig pork?
I'm with you, Mark Henry. Yeah, I mean, we've had our suspicions going all the way back to when I first saw Tamara Press in the 50s.
Enjoy your trip to work with lots of laughs thanks to Defo and Lubie. Now on the Defo Show.
Tamara Press was Arnold Schwarzenegger meets Abe Lincoln. She had a beard down to her chest. They were doing a lot of gender testing or, performance enhancing drug testing in the 50s. The Russians were way ahead of the pack there. Now, what do you make of this? A couple of things here that we want to get into here on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie. So happy that you found us here on South Florida Live. Now, are we also capable of having people plug this in and picking it up on their radios, Lubie? Do we still have that capacity?
Yes. Most cars do Bluetooth, so anything that's on your phone can be in your car. And that's what they were doing before with the audio streaming. It still was having to go from your phone to your car. It's the same difference. Like, just because we're on YouTube, you don't have to watch us. You can just have us there and listen. So you can do that wherever you are. That's the whole point of this. That's why it's actually, even though radio is the medium we're used to, this is better because it's Radio Plus. You can do it anywhere.
No, I'm real happy, that we found this format. And, only negative is that we didn't find it years before.
Really? Yeah.
Which we tried to. Remember, we brought those streaming guys into the studio there and they threw them out. Yeah. Which they should have in that particular case. They had every reason to throw those guys out. Turned out to be a little bit unscrupulous. I think the one guy checked out. Now, we already killed off Hector Lopez and who? Johnny Bench here on the show.
Hector Lopez.
No, Bobby Hull. Yeah, Bobby Hull. We had them both dead. But I believe that guy from, what was that? Sports something streaming network. And, they were a little ahead of their time there, but I think that guy, Jory, checked out. I don't know. Remember the guy came into the studio there? He was kind of took over the show.
I remember.
He sat in your chair, put his feet up on the board. No wonder the program director got a little antsy about the idea that we were maybe doing something that was a little out of the bounds of the parameters of iHeartMedia and their very strict adherence to iHeart's, many, rules that they lay out there, and some of which come after the fact.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Here's the thing, though, too, and we were talking about, the field for the U.S. Open in golf. I don't know if it's that much interest to people. It's certainly, now that it's become kind of a political issue, and there's a war going on, and it involves Greg Norman, who a lot of people got sour on. Greg Norman, the Saudis, the whole 9/11 thing is brought into this. Naturally, the murder of this Khashoggi. What was just a blatant atrocity that's hard to embrace. But Joe Biden is going there to talk to the sheik, right? And we accept him in other areas. I mean, the horse racing world, we talked about it. Mike Mayo brought this up. He's absolutely correct that, in horse racing, people go and contest this Saudi Cup, and nobody's screaming about like, hey, what is Bob Baffert doing over there? And the purse is $20 million for a race. The biggest purse here. What was the Belmont? I think it was like $1 million and a hook to win the Belmont Stakes, and you can go over there and race for 15 times that or whatever that is. Are you not doing the same thing? No,
Yes.
it's and it's sort of overlooked in the horse racing world. There's almost no controversy about jockeys going there, and trainers and owners racing there. So there's a bit of hypocrisy about this whole thing with the golf, but the golf, these guys are so much in the public eye. I mean, Phil Mickelson, recognizable as the great late Jimmy Lennon Sr. used to say, the world over. Really needing no introduction, the world over. This guy could walk into any bar in any country in the world. He could be in the Philippines, and he'd be more recognizable than Manny Pacquiao. Phil Mickelson.
Okay? 100%. Yeah.
Tremendous platform. So for him to be embracing these, philosophies, and the whole notion that these people were behind this atrocity that was committed against the people of the United States, it still has long and lingering ramifications, including the fact that you're waltzing through TSA scrutiny at any airport here, right? I mean, that's a byproduct of the whole 9/11 thing. Did we have that kind of intense it's not really. I guess, I don't know. Is it any different than it was before? The scrutiny that you get with TSA versus what was normal security at an airport prior to this. I guess it's a little more strict. No?
I didn't really fly a lot before.
Oh, you couldn't, liquids and all of that stuff. I mean,
they didn't do all this. And you could also go to the gate, like if you were not on the flight, you could walk your gate. Like it was a little looser. It wasn't as big a pain in the ass. I mean, and I presume it's better now. We're safer now. Who the hell knows?
Well, I mean, we haven't had any other incidents of this that we know of, right? So I guess it worked, right? All those people that are opposed to banning assault weapons. I mean, this worked, right? Is it a pain in the ass? Yeah.
Yes.
Because if you're a law-abiding citizen, you just want to get to the gate there, right?
Yep.
You're not thinking about blowing up any planes.
Nope.
Or, and you certainly don't want to know that anybody else on there is, we're thinking that they're going to do some kind of terrorist act. But, I mean, to embrace this, if you're a golfer, now I'm not one that's into this whole argument about distractions all the time, right? Because people bring this up frequently when they have nothing else to write or talk about in sports talk. And they talk about what kind of distraction is that going to be? Whether you're talking about a guy that's in a contract negotiation. I don't know. I don't find that distracting if a guy's offering me money. Now, you might get frustrated that the negotiation isn't going in your favor, as was the case. I don't know. Aaron Judge doesn't appear to be frustrated by it. Is it beneficial to him that there are no contract talks going on during the course of the season? Or would you believe that it's more than likely that as he hits like his 22nd homer, Cashman is on the phone to his agent going, okay, all right, you got me, man.
Yeah,
300 million. That's it. That's
point.
As far as I can go. I had the whole thing with Lisa Meanwell, and we fired a lot of managers here, and we finally seem to be on the right. 300 million, but, don't make me beg. You don't think some of that's going on during the course of the season?
At some point, if the Yankees are smart, it would. I mean, the longer you wait, the more money is going to be. And if he gets on the open market, it's even going to be more.
All right.
You would think.
Super Bowl is when the word distractions comes up probably the most in association with any sporting event, correct? Like, which team is going to be able to handle the distractions better? The media day and this and that and all the fanfare and the family bugging you for tickets, guys you haven't heard from in 30 years. If you're an older player, all of a sudden they're like, Hey, Wally, man, what about 4 in the upper deck there? You can't spring that? And I don't know. I mean, are distractions really that big a part of the Super Bowl?
I don't know.
Seems like. Have you ever heard somebody say, "You know what? We lost that game because of all the fucking
I was
distractions."
distracted. Yeah, let me tell
You
you,
know
they
what?
it's a
The
multi
media was bugging me. I never heard that once referenced after any Super Bowl game. Have you?
No,
The
once they bought
massive amount. Oh, my family was in town. I tell you what, they really made it miserable for me. I couldn't concentrate, and that's why Aaron Donald was able to blow by me 6 times to sack the quarterback. As my screwball uncle came to town, man, he was snoring the whole time. You never hear that.
no.
So, I mean, and once in a while, you'll have something weird happen. I mean, that's like way out of the ordinary. Like the guy from the Raiders that was wandering around
Jared
there.
Robbins,
Right.
the lineman, right?
Was out of his mind, unfortunately, afflicted with a mental illness. And then the running back that was all coked out for the Cincinnati Bengals. Fullback.
Time.
Yeah. Remember that one?
Stanley Wilson or something?
That was it. Good call there, Lubie. Stanley Wilson. And you'll have something really bizarre like that happen. I suppose that could, turn into some sort of distraction. But for whom? I mean, is it the coaches? All of a sudden, oh, my God, I couldn't remember the game plan because Wilson was coked out. No, they don't care. It's like a body, a piece of meat to them. Maybe he was a better player than the guy they replaced him with. But unfortunately, he wasn't there. And you don't hear this distraction thing ever mentioned. But I would think that in golf, it would have to be somewhat distracting where, you're supposed to be in dead silence to hear somebody, screaming in your backswing, "You took the blood money, Phil! You took the blood money!" Now, did they throw that guy off the course?
Probably. That's the thing with golf is like, I'd love to see the fans get out there and heckle them, but they won't let you. It's like sort of annoying.
Certain courses, as I mentioned, at Bethpage Black, I don't know about heckling, but they got raucous in favor of Phil that one year, and they've had other chosen ones that they were rooting for, and it gets very loud, and it's almost like you're at a football game. It's fantastic. I think it's great when you have an enlivened golf crowd. And then there's that waste management thing in Phoenix, where they propel any kind of projectile towards the green there, like car batteries are coming in from the stands. And guys are like 3 guys piled on top of each other, and they're in the sand trap there with like drinks that people walk around. What's that place in New Orleans? Where they have the giant drinks? Yeah.
The Hurricanes? I don't know what the restaurant is, but
It's an Irish, bar like Danny's or O'Shea's or something like that. But anyway, I mean, and that's happening on the greens at the waste management thing. And where is that? Phoenix, Arizona, I believe.
I guess.
Which, is not necessarily a place that you would expect, some kind of raucous, rowdy crowd at a golf tournament.
I think
not even at a basketball game. They're fairly sedate, right? Phoenix, Arizona. Oh, there you go, Devin. Nice shot.
They're calm. Yeah, it's like retirees.
Remember when? This preceded your time probably watching basketball when they had the pan shot of the crowd in Phoenix. This was back when Alvin Adams was playing for the Phoenix Suns, and they had some good teams. They were contentious teams. They never won championships, but they would get to like the second round and then hammer it out against the Lakers or something. But they had the most proliferation, percentage of babes per woman that appeared on the screen that I had ever seen. It was like watching pro beach volleyball when it first started.
Really?
And you're saying, how many beautiful women are there in California?
Well, California, yeah. I thought you were saying Phoenix. I'm like,
no, but this was Phoenix at that time. I mean,
Phoenix?
When they panned the crowd, sports fans that remember that era, will remember thinking, wow, man, I want to move to Phoenix because I've never seen so many babes in my life.
Really? Phoenix?
Phoenix, yeah. And then you get there, and it's hot as hell. I've been there a few times.
Well,
oh, you went to Phoenix, yeah.
Yeah, it was a disaster. Shirley wants to go so bad. I'm like, why?
No way.
It's horrendous.
You'll want to impale yourself to a cactus before you get to the airport, just to get some relief from the pain that you felt from being in a town as boring as Phoenix, Arizona.
I enjoyed Minnesota more than Phoenix.
Yeah, me too. It was 1,000 degrees at night.
Oh, yeah, it was boring. It was
right. You could see the sweltering heat, man. People are traveling by camel. It was unbelievable. Not much going on there either. I mean, it was spread out. The only thing that was able to accommodate my time and make it tolerable was my trips to Turf Paradise.
There you go.
Which was a jump of a track there. And I actually got clobbered on that trip, that last Super Bowl trip. Yeah, no, I got annihilated. I think I lost like 6 sticks one day. I never do that. And, I just couldn't stop myself. Kept betting, screen to screen action. I was still there at night, man. They were running the quarter horses. It started out like they had harness racing in the daytime. And then next thing you know, they got like quarter horses out there at night. I'm still there plunging on these races that, I have no idea what the hell's going on. All right. But the distractions, do you buy into it? I mean, when people start talking about this would be a case, though, where you would think that the distractions might actually be something that you could, infuse into the equation of what went wrong for certain golfers in the tournament, which is why I don't want to take a flyer on Dustin Johnson at 40-1.
It's so.
It all gets back to the betting, Louis. That's what I'm talking about.
I know. That's what I'm saying from a gambling standpoint. Like, at this point, unless you're Phil, who's homining it, all these guys I feel like are sort of accepting this. Like, Dustin Johnson was pretty honest. Like, yeah, I don't want to play golf that much longer. Like, his reasoning was stupid. So it's him pretty much saying, yeah, I don't care about people and I don't care about what they have to say about me.
You're ignoring the substance and, the source and where this money is being derived from. You're ignoring it completely. And just saying, here's money being offered to me. I don't care where it came from. It's all about the money. And Phil did admit that. That was the only real consideration that he had there, the dough.
Well, that's the thing is, and the Greek took the other opinion. He's like, look, people don't care about things. They don't care about stuff, which he's not wrong, actually, but that doesn't mean that, it makes sense. When you're already making $20 million a year, what the fuck is 50? Like, I don't know. But anyway,
it's 50, yeah. I mean,
it's a lot of money, and I get it, but it's like, what's your soul worth? And we now know what their soul's worth. So to me, if they're accepting it, then what the hell do they care what the crowd does? So that's why I'm curious if one of these people who have a thicker skin,
you think they can pop through here,
do something, because you're going to get insane odds on them. So if they do,
this will be the first time you'll see like a guy like McIlroy get 2 minutes for slashing.
Yes, exactly.
If one of these guys like DeChambeau is leading, they're going to come after this guy with golf clubs. I mean, it's going to be like Elin Woods, right?
Nordegren. No, it's like Monday Night Raw, and they come from the top rope, and
yeah. You're going to see golfers heckling other golfers on the U.S. Open. I think it's going to be brilliant. I can't wait to watch it. And I think the real story will be to follow Jim Nantz and Nick Faldo there as they try to tap dance their way around the LIV Tour. And, the obvious discrepancy of opinion that there is with people about the guys that took the money to go ahead and essentially, I mean, sort of cut off their golf career just to be in this monetary showcase for the Saudis.
Yeah.
I mean, is that's a biased way of putting it?
It's what it is, though. I mean, that's what they're doing, whether you agree with it or not, whatever. Which it feels like everyone's actually 100% on the same side on this one. It's like the only topic everyone agrees on. But yeah, that's what happened. I mean, they openly admitted. Phil, you said admitted. Yeah, it's one of the money. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, they portrayed him as being despondent, which I don't know that he is. I haven't seen that side of it yet. I mean, he didn't play well in the tournament. He wasn't playing particularly well. He wasn't playing at all. So we have no way of gauging it. The headlines, though, are kind of interesting on this. My New York Post here. Let me see if I can dig them out here. No hiding from Phil Fuhrer. Lefty empathizes with 9/11 families, but concedes LIV move about money. There's no escape for Mickelson this time. Wow. And this is, 2 pages on Phil Mickelson and what he's facing here. And a lot of excerpts from the press conference, which to Phil's credit, they asked him, hey, you want us to put a time limit on this thing before he got up there? He showed up a couple of minutes before his, designated time for the press conference that he was going to have. And he actually said to the guy, no limit. These reporters rightfully have a lot of questions that I need to answer. So
that's nice.
200 million can make you a better guy, right? I mean, even if, you don't want to acknowledge the fact that, this sort of, you would have to think puts at least a stain in some people's minds
on his
reputation. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't make you look good, right? DeChambeau, you would expect it of.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Look, even Ricky Fowler, which I don't know if he's all the way in yet, he hasn't won in forever. At some point, the young guy thing goes away. He's not the phenom. He's never really won a major. He doesn't even really contend. So he's gonna
cash out, right? He's
not a guy that's solidified to make sponsor dollars forever. I can understand him doing it. My problem is Phil has gotten to the place. He's in his 50s. Like, he's going to make Jack Nicklaus, Arnie Palmer money. Like, forever. He'll be in commercials. Forever he can do speaking engagements. Forever he can play on the tour, the senior tour.
How is he not in a Subway sandwich commercial?
He's in a few others, though. Like, he's a guy that will get paid forever. He doesn't need the money.
Jeter's in one. I mean, Phil couldn't get in a Subway sandwich. He'd be hard-pressed to endorse anything in the future.
He's done.
After this,
But he got his $200 million, so good for you.
There you go.
It is.
Look, everybody's entitled to, do whatever it is that they want to pursue as long as they're not hurting somebody else. In this case, you would have to think that symbolically, at least, you have hurt people by making this move. Evidenced by, and that's why we got into this earlier. This whole political correctness thing is just, okay, so the 9/11 people, and there's an organization, and they have stated their absolute disgust with the people who embraced this tour, the American people, including Phil and DeChambeau and Dustin Johnson, and I guess Kevin Na. Is he American? Kevin Na? I want to say yes.
I think so.
To that, a few others, that have gone. Patrick Reed.
Yep.
Another guy that's a bit of a renegade on the golf tour. You might anticipate him going there. A bunch of European washed-up schmanks are on there. But, they're doing essentially the move that you were saying and describing for Ricky Fowler, which, look, it makes sense from a financial standpoint. There's no question. I mean, it makes ridiculous sense. It's a hell of a lot of money, right? There's no way. Even if Phil had every endorsement, does he make $200 million over the next several years?
No. They said it'll take him
on the senior tour and finishing 5th to Bernhard Langer in every tournament.
They said it'll take him like 10, 15 years. Like, over the next 10, 15 years, he'd make 15 to 20 million a year.
Right.
So
it's like lottery money being given to you in a lump sum.
Yes, that's what it is. It's over 5 years. He'll make what he could have made in 15 to 20.
Yeah, but at what level of conscience and what level of disgrace?
Can you go to the public?
Out there? All right, this will be interesting. I think it's going to be hot, this tournament.
Yeah, we talked about it for an hour. I hope people care about
that. But
I
mean, you couldn't have the two worlds collide on a more colossal stage than to have the U.S. Open. Phil coming back. It's the one title of the majors, the slam events that has eluded him.
Oh, that's funny.
He's very unlikely to win this, especially off recent form, which was a 4-month layoff and then a 10-over 3-round performance at a tournament in London that was won by some nondescript European schmank like Charles Schwartzel at like 9 under par. Or I think it might have even been a lower score. So, here's Phil 20 shots off the pace. Is he going to come and win this thing? Unlikely. Wow. Will he be booed? There's your sports talk question.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah.
Will Phil be booed as he's introduced? Will there be a smattering, a very polite applause there? Because I think the golf intros should be handled more by like a style more inclined, not necessarily Mark Buffer, but Michael Buffer, right? Is it Mark Buffer?
The main guy. I don't know who maybe Mark Buffer's his cousin. Michael Buffer is the one.
No, but who's the UFC guy? Bruce Buffer.
Oh, Bruce. Yeah, Bruce Buffer, his mother. Yeah, Bruce Buffer does.
Bruce Buffer, yeah.
Showtime.
No, I don't know. You can't go Bruce Buffer on a golf intro, right? And now on the tee. But, you should have a little more of a build-up, right, as you introduce these golfers. They're very lame. It's like, from Clearwater, Florida, Tiger Woods. It's like, what?
Yeah, it's lame. They got to go hard.
That's it?
Yeah,
and then you hear...
No,
but will there be when they go? And they should introduce the guy. He is a 6-time major winner. He's got 3 green jackets. Long time this, amateur records, and all of this. Here is Phil Mickelson, right?
Yeah.
But will you hear? Ooh.
That'd be great if there's booze.
I think there will be a smattering of booze.
That would be great. At a golf tournament, there's booze.
Where's this golf course? Is it outside of Boston? Is that where they're playing this thing? Where is this golf course?
Professor mentioned it earlier. I'm trying to...
Hold on here. I think it might be outside of Beantown.
Francis.
Brookline, Mass. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
Those guys could that.
Oh, they're gonna. Are you kidding me? The red-blooded Americans.
They drink. They can drink, boy, and they get real angry. They're the ones.
These Irish hard-ons are going to be all over Phil Mickels. They're going to buy tickets just so they can boom it, Phil.
They're the ones that tear down the city
wow.
when they win a title, and they're hardcore like America. So,
somebody's going to run up to DeChambeau in the middle of a shot and grab that silly hat off his head and fire it in the water. Say, you're a disgrace, Bryson.
I hope it's like a wrestling.
And what kind of name is Bryson anyway, right? No, I mean, they're going to be all over these guys. I believe that. So distractions might come into play. And here I've been arguing against that whole concept forever, just saying it's a ridiculous concept. Sit there and go, hey, well, what about the distractions? Who's that going to affect more? I don't know. It's like, who is the pressure on? Who's the pressure on in Game 6?
Well, the team that's
the NBA
facing
Finals.
elimination.
How about the Celtics? Yeah.
They're facing elimination.
Oh, no, it's much more on the Warriors because they don't want to have to go back and play a Game 7.
No, it's on the Celtics.
Ridiculous arguments, man, that you have.
They're facing elimination.
Existential arguments that have no answer to them whatsoever and no meaning. I mean, it's John Paul Sartre time here on the show. All right, we're going to come back and wrap things up on this edition of the Defo Show. Thanks for finding us, South Florida Live. Lubie, I have to get that link out to
I texted you, but yeah, get it to the people that love what we do and are having trouble finding us. But yeah, I mean, you've already found us, so to tell you sort of dumb, but South Florida Live on YouTube, South Florida Live Facebook. There's the Defo Show with Lubie on Facebook. We have our Twitter at SoFly Live, Instagram SoFly Live, and TikTok SoFly Live. So we're everywhere. We're going to keep coming at you, and we're going to keep adding new and interesting content to try and, diversify compared to what a lot of others are doing, which is cool.
No, it should be fun. I mean, let's face it. We have a vast array of interests all over the place. I'm really looking forward to starting that music thing. And I always wanted to do that pasta and pony. So, before I die, I probably should get around to at least trying it.
Yes, this is the place. It's time.
I ran around a little bit on the knee last night on the tennis court. Didn't bother me yesterday, but might have aggravated it a little bit today. So we'll see what's happening with that. Supposed to play a high intensity game tonight against the Jets, man. And then we have the Mayo keeps offering to pay off on this debt, but I think he knows that he knows that none of us can make it on Monday or Tuesday.
We'll have to have you take a Monday off or something and do it on a Monday. I mean, I could do a Wednesday as well, but Wednesday we don't get the same great deal at Tropical Acres. So,
yeah, that's true, man. A half price bottle of wine, that'll save him a lot of money, Mayo, since he's picking up the tab for the three of us.
Exactly.
Do we let him off the hook and let him take us to Costa's or
from what you're telling me, Tropical Acres is letting him off the hook compared to Anthony's Runway.
Oh yeah, no doubt about that.
It's supposed to be Runway.
That was going to run him 5 6 at Runway. Yeah.
I mean, he would have made us go to Runway. So the fact that we're doing
I think he paid for some of the renovations for Anthony Bruno. Mayo actually put up like $100,000 so he wouldn't have to pay off that debt there. Because, he had won a dime. He was crying about that over the weekend. He only won a dime. Unbelievable. And we just saved him about, probably $400. Yeah. All right. Lightning and the Avalanche. That's another one, man. I mean, when is that? That's happening tomorrow night for the first game?
Oh, is it tomorrow? I thought it was tonight. Let's see.
Tomorrow night, yeah. The basketball picks up again on Thursday, and then I'm thinking that they don't play again until Sunday. Thursday and Sunday.
Probably.
Sunday night game on ABC. Is that what they're looking for?
You would think. I mean, Thursday and Sunday is what it is right now.
Oh, you're kidding me. Wow. I was guessing on that. Thinking you couldn't stretch this out anymore. Yeah. So, and then training camp opens the next day.
Oh, it does. Oh, let's look at football. There you go.
No, not football. But I'm talking about training camp for basketball. It does, man. Well, no, they have that summer league thing, which is that really a big deal? Do people really get into that summer league basketball?
My friends do because there's no sports.
It's betting on it. What is the reason to get into summer league basketball?
If you don't like baseball and you can't pretend to get interested in college and NFL camps, then you watch that, line to yourself that it's real basketball.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. You see some rookies, that has some benefit, I guess. All right, we're coming back with more in a moment here on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie, Lubitz. Julian points out that Phil's been a runner-up 6 times at the U.S. Open.
That's
still
crazy.
a bridesmaid there, though. Runner-up 6 times U.S. Open. There was that one that looked like he had it in a bag. I want to say, and I think he was on 16. He's just cruising to an easy victory, and he hit that one over the hospitality tent. And then somewhere Monty, it might have been in contention either in that same tournament or a subsequent one shortly thereafter, and did the same thing, just shankoponymous on a keyhole late in the tournament. And that kept him in the qualification of having never won a tournament on U.S. soil. Monty. Hey, Fatso, miss it. That was my favorite thing about Monty. It was wrong of me to send the intern, Jim Greashopper, after Monty for an interview after he had blown up to an 86 at the Honda Classic one year. Hey, Monty, would you like to do an interview? We'd love. He hated the media and especially talk radio. Like absolutely would see nothing but red at the mere suggestion of coming on a talk show. Nearly decapitated the guy. I guess I would have been responsible for his passing if Monty had actually hit him with that 9-iron. All right, we're coming back with more in a moment. Now that
The time.
6 times he finished second, Phil. It's 8:54.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched. Steaks hand cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Recently we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business. And the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. Before you call the insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752. Would you go into court without an attorney? So why would you go up against an insurance company without Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa? 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Give them a call at 954-809-8752. Why go up against insurance companies alone when you can have Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa on your side? To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them, to die, to sleep, no more, and by a sleep to say we end the heartache and 1,000 natural shocks.
What could that have been about except
Gambling.
to hedge or not to hedge?
The modern day odd couple, Defo and Lubie, are on now. It is, of course, the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie Lewitz with you, South Florida Live, our new channel. We created this thing from scratch here. Lubie worked very hard on some things behind the scenes. And we also, I got some help from various people. And really great to have our own channel here, South Florida Live, where we plan to bring you all kinds of variety in addition to our daily show here, the Defo Show, of course, featuring one Mike Lubie Lubitz. I don't usually get into these after-the-fact stories, but this one was kind of interesting. I meant to touch on this earlier in the show, but we got carried away with Saudi blood money and Phil Mickelson and, the whole chaos that's going to take place, especially in the early stages. You would think of the U.S. Open, normally a very refined crowd, not inclined to, as we said, the rowdyism you would see at the Waste Management, which is only appropriate that's where it, it's most evident, where you have crowds that just sort of get themselves into the tournament and involved with the players, and maybe they seem to be very encouraging, these guys, as rowdy and drunk as they may be. But the story came out about and I guess has it been confirmed or whatever? I mean, somebody is writing again about this whole notion that the Dolphins tried to wave like $100 million at Sean Payton before they hired this Mike McDaniel guy, which they played off as if, well, we were looking for this innovative guy all along. And Sean Payton said, well, if he was going to come back and coach, it would only be with the Saints. A little bit of loyalty there on the part of Sean Payton, who is going to be, I think, in the broadcast booth this year. Yeah, to the tune of a lot of money also, no doubt. Yep. But, and Payton leaving the Saints, he said he left, because he wanted to have a little bit of time and everything. He's been doing this a long time. Doesn't take supposedly $100 million, like 10-year Gruden-type offer from the Miami Dolphins, who also then, and the assertion is then floated out there and not denied by one Tom Brady himself, we're trying to work some kind of deal where Brady would be their quarterback this year.
Look, and we're going to have him on tomorrow. Dave Hyde is going to join us tomorrow. Dave Hyde talked about this with us.
Yeah.
At the time, he talked about it more recently. The last time he was on with us. And it's been something that was floated, and no one from the Dolphins have denied it. That Ross and that's why it blew up, because once Flores
and Brian Flores made this implication that they had set this thing up with Brady, and that was totally against the rules.
Yeah, you can't
tampering
do anything
in the NFL.
Yep, with the coach, because Peyton was already under sort of a gig, and Brady for sure already had a gig, and they had sort of met or sort of whispered about the package deal and them coming to Miami, and it was like, okay, like what is going on?
And it seemed far-fetched. I mean, it seemed like something John Grisham would have to have dreamt up. Yeah,
that's the book. Yep.
Some kind of bizarre plot, with a conspiracy theory attached to it, and it would have been interesting because that says essentially, if true, which I'm inclined to believe there was some merit to this, or it wouldn't keep surfacing like it has. But and again, the Dolphins in complete denial of any of this stuff. Which I don't know. Why would they deny an interest in Sean Payton if they had one? I mean, they might deny that they obviously they're going to have to offer him a ton of capital to do it. I'm not sure what the status of coaches that are under contract would be. I know you can't, mess with having Tom Brady entertain overtures, from the Miami Dolphins. But Brian Flores implied that was the case. He was being asked to partake in that, didn't want to, and that was another reason that his relationship with Stephen Ross and the upper-level brass soured. So apparently there might have been some truth to that. But what does that say if the Finns brass would rather have Tom Brady probably for 1 year than Tua Tagovailoa running the show here?
Well, the Payton deal was supposedly 4 years, $100 million. Like that's what I remember. It was supposed to.
Oh, really? $25 million a year for a coach?
Yes,
Are you kidding me? Wow.
Chose to tap out instead of.
What is he, Joe Buck? I mean, unbelievable.
It was that, and then that was my other thing. Is like I know everyone's going to say Brady, even the people who hate him outside of the professor and me. Yeah, he's Brady, but how much longer is he going to do it? Like, don't you want to see?
I can't see him going past this year. Can you?
No, I
don't he already retired once. I mean, next thing you know, he's going to be like Roberto Duran.
He'll be far every other year, retirement and come back from retirement.
Unbelievable. Yeah. All right, that's interesting. We can get into that a little bit tomorrow. We'll also go old school tomorrow with Tony Segreto. Yes. Always a lot of fun. Tony, brought to you by Catholic Health Services, Texas Roadhouse Restaurants, two really, really great organizations. We continue to be supported by Hialeah Park and Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill and many other fine people here on the program. So tomorrow, Tony Segreto, Old School. Thursday, the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge Friday, Degenerate Friday. All here on the show. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. For Mike Lubie Lubitz, I'm Jeff DeForest. We will see you tomorrow at 7 in the a.m. as we leave you know that.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
That Judith Lieber purse, man. 6 times. It's 9:02.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
My show.